Excellencies, learned delegates, researchers, scientists, and students, happy morning to one and all. It gives me great pleasure to extend you a warm welcome on behalf of Tan BioYojana Solution, who has clubbed all of us for the international conference BioYojana 2021 on current trends in biological research. It's our third day of BioYojana on current trends in biological research. Today we have with us some of our renowned keynote speakers, Dr. C. Bennett Chandran, Engineer B. Swami, Dr. Gopal V. Shavi, and Dr. Jai Palaniswamy. We are truly blessed with this sir. To start with the day, we have Dr. C. Bennett Chandran to enlighten us on entrepreneurship and employability skills in applied science. Dr. C. Bennett Chandran is a lecturer in bioscience at South Eastern Regional College, UK. He obtained his PhD from Anna University and he got his MPH from Queen's University, UK and PGC from Ulster University, UK. He also worked as a research scientist at Randox Laboratory, UK, and he has 8 years of industrial experience and 4 years of teaching experience. His research interests are environmental biotechnology, medical biotechnology, and industrial biotechnology. He has published several research and review articles in reputed international journals. We are awaiting to listen your inspiring words, sir. Here comes Dr. C. Bennett Chandran. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Sandra. Thank you very much for a kind introduction.
Thank you, sir.
I'm happy to be here this morning. Thank you for this opportunity for BioYojana board members for giving this opportunity. It's quite early in the morning. It's 5:30 in the morning, so in case if my voice is a bit croaky, please excuse me. I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, for a second. Right. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, sir. Yeah, it's clear.
Perfect. Good. So I'm doing the first topic. So next 30 to 40 minutes, I'll be presenting on the title Employability and Entrepreneurship. On the invitation, you might have seen it as described as skills, but I'm going to talk about the entire culture that needs to be present in an academic or industry setup. And this is focused with respect to applied science. I've got experience as I've been introduced both in industry and in academic. So I've got a blend of both areas of research and how students are being educated and getting them employability ready to enter into work environment. So it is from this context that I'll be presenting today's topic. So initially I'll be talking about employability, then we'll go about entrepreneurship. At the end, I'll have some time for discussion and questions. I've got a slide here. It's quite abstract. I'm just going to keep you awake because it's quite early in the morning. What do you see in this picture? If this session was face-to-face, I would have had a lot of interaction, but it's virtual. So I'm just going to ask a few questions here and there and a few interactions. You just keep thinking about it and then go about. So what do you see in this picture? You don't have to answer me, but just think about it. Some would say that they would see a bear, the face of a bear. Some might see there's a dog facing this way. Some could see a tree. This is just to show that people perceive things differently. The same thing what everybody sees is different from person to person. Not everybody sees it as the same. I'm going to show you another picture. It says, can you see the hidden tiger? Right, if you have found it, it's interesting, good. If not, we'll come back to this picture. So the first one is about employability. One of the definitions for employability is a set of skills and knowledge and personal attributes that make an individual more likely to secure and be successful in their chosen occupation to the benefit of themselves, the workforce, the community, and the economy. So if you look at here, there's nothing to do with your academic score, right? Somebody could have got passed in a first class or a distinction, but for employability, they're looking for a different set of skills and knowledge and personal attributes. These are the three key things that we look for in academics. So keep that in mind. So it focuses on a long-term effect on the graduates beyond securing an employment. So when you say employment, quite often we always think about campus placement, where people, as soon as they get graduated, they get a job. But it's very common that people either don't stay in that job for a long time, either they move to a different job, or some people after probation period, they're not given a permanent contract, or some of them even could change their field completely. Though they were trained as a scientist, they can move on to software or any other civil jobs that comes up. So getting a job is not employment. Employment is, what we are talking here is somebody who could stay in a place on a long-term basis. Okay, so if that has to happen, I've got a few points that needs to be done. There should be a change in culture. So the student or the person who's seeking employment should develop a range of attributes and abilities, not just getting a job, but a person should stay and contribute to the workforce, to the company, and to the economy of the country as a whole, and also for their own life. And for a student, while he is studying in the university, it's not something that they learn different on top of the subjects that they are reading, but it comes out of the subjects that they're already studying in the university. So employability is not taught separately, but it can be taught along with their regular subjects, whether they're doing biochemistry or biotechnology or chemistry. So these skills can be developed as and when they read these subjects. Employers, they're looking for graduates who are very flexible. That means they don't only bring knowledge of any particular subject, but persons who can also change while they're working so that they add value to the industry and they transform the organization. So that is the type of persons employers are looking for. Higher education, like any university or colleges, they are rapidly developing and they are making all the approaches so that students can get an employability once they finish their graduation. Increasingly, higher educations are developing integrated strategic approach. So as and when they study their course, they also develop all these soft skills that industry are looking for. So these are things that will make things happen that people stay in the jobs for a longer time. So the entire system has to change. Okay, the perception of the student and the perception of the, for example, in this conference, there could be lecturers here or people from industry are there. So everyone's perspective needs to change. Their attitude has to change, and some of the government policies need to change, and the way they see education. And so this skills or your teaching has to be learner-centric. So the focus should be not just development of the college, but each individual should be the main focus where they have to be developed to be employment ready. It's not only this approach is from the teaching perspective or industry perspective. Even students have to undertake that their desire is not just to pick up a job, but they should have a change in mindset that once when they get into employment, they have to contribute to the industry. Okay, not only the industry, they should have in mind, when I work, I'm going to help the community and I'm going to help the economy of the country to grow. So this is the mindset a student should have, not just to get a job, get a salary, and settle in life. Current employability among graduates across India. I've got a statistics data here. So engineering people, they get 46.8% of the engineering graduates get a job, and then MBA students 46.5%. Bachelor of Arts and Commerce, they are close to 40%. And then comes science field. People in pharmaceutical, 37% get employed, and Bachelor of Science is 30%. So we are not very far from engineering background people. So only 37 to 30% from science background and get employed in those science fields. The rest, either they're unemployed or they are in a different industry. Now, Indian pharmaceutical industry currently is valued 41.7 billion. So it's a big market, and global market is also valued at 1.27 trillion. So there's a big demand in that industry. And the only thing is we need to be employment ready to get this jobs so we can contribute to the pharmaceutical or science industry and to help grow this economy and serve the community. This is an article published recently by Financial Express. It says that the sheer scale of skills and employability crisis in India warrants a tectonic shift. Okay. They say only 39% of employers have skills, and there's a big shortage in these organizations. So there are vacancies, but they're not able to fill those vacancies because the graduates that come from science background, they don't match the industry expectations. So there needs to be a shift. What can be done to get more employment in scientific industry? So on top of our academics, the scores that we get, we need to get this special edge. And that special edge is something extra, something on top of the academic. And these are the things that have been identified by the top industry and academicians. People should have good presentation and communication skills. They should have an industry experience while studying in the college. Because when the students graduate, they only know about the subject, but it is very different from what is happening in the industry. Okay. And then you should have a good teamwork, and then you should have leadership, change in leadership qualities, and problem solving and critical thinking. So if you have all these additional qualities, then you are employment ready. Okay, so we're going to pick one at a time and just go slightly in detail. The first one is industry placement. So what we learn in theory, we should be able to put in practice. We do practicals in the class while doing the course, but some of the practicals that you do in the class, they don't work in industry. Okay, they're completely in different setup. Like I remember when I did my work placement before I joined my PhD, this is after my MSc, my supervisor asked me to get industrial exposure. So I went and joined chemical industry. And then first thing I was told by the R&D manager was, he asked me, Bennett, what is the method that is used to make sulfuric acid? And then I said, it's Haber process. And he said, nowhere, no industry uses that method to make sulfuric acid. In industry, we use a completely different method. And that was an eye-opening. I thought I knew how to make sulfuric acid, but when I went to the industry, it's completely different. So when I go to industry, the industry person has to retrain me how it's been done in industry, which is different from what we learned in classroom. So this takes time for the industry, and this costs money for the industry because they're going to pay me to train me to their needs. So that's the reason why industries are not keen to take fresh graduates. They always ask, do you have a previous work experience? If the curriculum that is being delivered integrates this placement, while we are studying in the university or colleges, we are exposed to the type of industry, then we have industrial experience. So when we apply for a job, we already have some understanding of what is happening in industry. Okay? So as academicians, we should encourage this type of integration. We should have a collaboration with industry, so our students are employment ready. Similarly, people in industry always think that academicians don't have the knowledge of what is happening in the real world. They think they are superior to academicians. And academicians, on the other hand, they think, oh, we know, you guys know only a little bit about your knowledge specific to the product that you're making, but our knowledge is general. We know more wider things that's happening in the world. So there's always a tension between academics and industry, but these two have to merge. Again, I can give another example. When I while doing my first job in industry, again back in India, I was giving them, I came up with an idea how the effluent could be treated. So I did an effluent treatment plant. I did a bit of a drawing. Engineering drawing was just one unit that I studied in my MSc. So whatever knowledge I had, I drew that and took it to my R&D manager. He, being an engineer, he just laughed at my drawing and he said, Bennett, this is not how you do an engineering drawing. See, for me, I'm not an engineering graduate to do perfect engineering drawing. But rather than encouraging me and teaching me, he just made me to look a bit dumb. Okay? That really put me off. And so he should have literally encouraged and said, that's a good idea, Bennett, but this is how an engineering drawing should be done. That's how an industry person has to encourage a person who comes on placement or work. So the student learns what he or takes what he learned from his classroom, puts it into practice and industry, and then he reflects what he's learned, and then he goes back. So it's a circle, reflecting what you've learned and practicing. And also what you learn in industry, you come back and if there are things that you need to learn more, you come back to classroom and you learn on that specific topic. So without proper self-evaluation, failure is inevitable. So we have to constantly keep evaluating our knowledge, what we learn in the classroom, to the practical experience that we learn in industry. Coming back to the picture. So can you see the hidden tiger? Do you think you might be thinking the tiger is somewhere hidden in the background? But the hidden tiger is actually written on the tiger. Can you see the word? It's written on the stripes of the tiger. That's the hidden, H-I-D-D-E-N, and this is tiger. So it is on the stripes of the tiger, the hidden tiger. Okay. Some of you would have spotted quite easily. Some of you would have taken time. Some of you would have seen it now. That's perfectly fine. So when you're given a problem, we try to solve. That is human ability. So problem solving is very important, and our mind has to be creative. Okay, quite often, as soon as you see the hidden tiger, we would be looking for whether the tiger is hiding somewhere behind the bush or the tree or somewhere there, but it was there. So we need to be creative in thinking, and we have to be problem solving. So that is another skill that you need to learn, which is quality and employability skill. And this problem solving, creative thinking has to start, initially it will start in the classroom or wherever you're working. You need a lot of help from the supervisor if you're doing research, or it could be from your faculty member, your staff member. So you start initially, you observe things, and you learn with the staff member or your supervisor. And this is done by projects. And then slowly it moves on to group projects. From supervisor-led, then you move on to peer group. Within your classmates or within your colleagues, you start to solve these problem solving, creative thinking. And then you can go on to individual projects. Self-guided, yourself are able to solve problems and you're on creative thinking. So you're moving from observation, from what your supervisors are showing, to participation, where you try to involve as a team, or then you do it by individually. So you're going from dependent to autonomous. So this has to happen. So first a student joins in college, or somebody joins an industry, everything is supervisor-led. But soon you have to move from dependent to autonomous. Okay, that quality is very, very important for anybody to get in, to have an employability skill. The next thing I want to show you is, I'm going to give you a quote from Steve Jobs. He says, "For the past 33 years, I have looked in the mirror every morning and asked myself, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I'm about to do today? In other words, should I have to do the same thing? And whenever the answer has been no, for too many days in a row, I know I need to change something." Okay? At any time of your life, if you think that you're doing the same thing again and again, and you think that, oh, I need something different, then that's the time to change. Okay? So you need to change. Sometimes you have to bring change to the industry. So first, when you get a job, you bring in knowledge from the industry. Okay, so you're becoming adaptive. You bring in knowledge from the ability, and you try to fit into the new workplace. Okay, slowly what happens is you learn what is happening in the organization that you've joined. You started to become more adaptable. You learn what is happening in the industry, what type of product they are making, what type of research is going on, and you try to change to that. And then you find that things have to change. So you don't have to do the same thing what's happening. If you feel that something different has to be done, then you become transformative. So this is the higher level of skills. Okay? So either the organization is changing, you go along with the change, or you bring in the change in the organization where you go there. Now, this is what I see. There could be challenges in the workplace. Because you're new, your manager will think, oh, this boy or girl has just joined recently. He doesn't know much. Is he acting too smart? So they might put you down, but don't get discouraged. Okay? If there are any industry in this conference, you should encourage young talent. Okay? Don't see them as a threat to your job or your position. It will never happen. Always encourage young talent. Same way, students, we always think when you join new, we think that we cannot give ideas to our manager, but the culture has to change. And you should have the courage to say, why don't we do things differently? So people like those type of people in the industry who could bring in change and make the product better, make the company better, provide better service to the community, or make the economy grow. So you're going from adding to transforming. So the evolution, so you're involved in the evolution change in the organization. Okay. So we've looked into problem solving, and then change in leadership and industry placement, and then we're moving into teamwork. Okay, this is another very important change in culture that we should have when we are developing the skills of employability. So in other words, it's a collaborative work. So it involves communication between participants and going step by step until we get the results that we need. So collaboration is another key aspects we need to work on. So I've got two set of pictures here. One is people running in a big run, like a marathon run. And here they are building a human castle, okay, like a tower. Now, one is a group work and one is a teamwork. Now, which is a group work, which is a teamwork? Okay, one is a group work, one is a teamwork. Now, this is a group work. Okay, their goal is to complete the marathon. Everyone is running, and they're all running individually. They're all going toward the same goal. Okay, there is no need for communication. You don't have to run together. You can even run separately outside the group, but you're all going to the same thing. But here, to your right, is the teamwork. Okay, so I'm going to play a short video, 2-minute video. This happens in Spain. Every year, it's a big event that happens. You can see how the teamwork works. Okay, I'm going to play. So that was a teamwork where people had to work together. One goal, there's a lot of communication, a lot of trust, a lot of dependence on each other. Only one person goes on top, and they're all working towards one common goal together. Even if one person doesn't cooperate, then the whole they're able to achieve the goal. So this is a teamwork. So you would have when you go to work, you would need both the qualities. Sometimes you'll be working as in a group project, sometimes you'll be working in team projects. Why do we work as a team? Why can't we just work individual work? Because people come with different qualities. You need different qualities to achieve one common goal. For example, you must be aware that you have two hemispheres in your brain. For academic work, you always think you only need the left brain. But then we think that scientists, engineers always use the left brain. Arts, humanities, they use the right brain. But now you need both your brains to achieve something.